Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about Neptune transiting the fourth house in a natal chart. Now, on average, Neptune will traverse a house for approximately 14 years. However, if your house size is a little bit larger than average, then Neptune will transit it for a little bit of a longer period. If your house size is a little bit smaller than average, then Neptune will be in there for a little bit of a shorter duration. Well, anyway, people, first thing I say, when Neptune transits one's natal fourth house, you might experience a little chaos, a little confusion in your home and family life during this time. It's also possible maybe you may move to a place where you're by the sea. It's also really important to look at it during this transit. I'm not saying you're going to be inundated by as far as a flood goes or anything, but just be careful as far as leaving the water on, turning the water off when you're supposed to, and any kind of like a leakage connected with water, because Neptune is associated with this, and also any kind of adverse chemicals that might be in the home that might be permeating. I mean, radon, for example. I mean, if you haven't had your home tested for any kind of chemicals that might be there that might be detrimental to one's health, it's maybe more important in this transit than a lot of other transits to do so. And the fourth house is also associated with one's emotional security. So as far as being about self-deception, it's important not to it's important to be really careful about what is giving you emotional security and not choose the wrong things and deceiving yourself into something giving you that emotional security when really it isn't. So those are some things to look at with this transit. Keep in mind too that the fourth house, okay, it's also connected with one's roots. So let's say, for example, if you're trying to get in touch with your roots and you go on to a website like Ancestry.com and you try to trace your family tree or what have you, it might be kind of a confusing and confounding experience, because you may run into some confusion trying to find out maybe if you're trying to find out your heritage and so on and so forth, you might run into some things that are confounding during this time and might present more of a mystery than you otherwise anticipated. Now, it's also important during this transit to make sure that you see family members for who they are, and you don't delude yourself as far as this goes, because Neptune has a bad tendency to cast a web of illusion on us, and really it could pertain to family members. And really, it's one thing to overlook one's transgressions, but it's another thing to completely block them out and act like they don't exist and put people on a pedestal, and you may wind up doing this as far as family members go. This could also be a time where you might experience more things connected with the metaphysical and maybe more spirituality in the home. It might be a time where maybe you get people, your family together, and you start becoming more involved spiritually with them, and maybe even in the home more. This could also be a time during this transit that you might have, as far as selling property or trying to buy property, it's very important to look at the fine print and scrutinize that fine print. If there's anything like any contract or anything connected with a home that's on paper, and also be careful that you might run into somebody, if you're trying to buy a home from somebody, say, make sure that you're checked the home thoroughly and very extensively, and make sure there's no defects or any damage, or such as some kind of deterioration in the home, or something that's worn, even something that might be broken that maybe wasn't stated to you. And really, this could be a time too where you might see I mean, Neptune is about confusion, and you might have some situations in the home that might be confounding and confusing at this time. It could be, keep in mind that Neptune is connected with drugs. And really, if you have a family member, say, that drinks socially, keep in mind there's a chance that it may be better chance than average it could escalate during this time. And I'm not saying the chance is that great, but chances than a lot of other transits that it could escalate, or it could be something where somebody, a family member may not, that you didn't know about, was maybe involved in some recreational drugs and or alcohol. It maybe becomes involved, or somebody, I should say, somebody that wasn't a family member that wasn't involved with that previously becomes involved with it. So those are some things to look at as far as this transit goes. And anyway, it's also important to look at the aspects, if any, that are made to your natal planets and points from this transit, as this could impact the transit. Now, let's say, for example, that transiting Neptune is making a conjunction to your natal Saturn. Well, this could be a time of strong merging of compassion with responsibilities, and also dreams and fantasies maybe becoming reality. Well, being in the fourth house, this could be tied into the home and family members, and it could also be that less dominant parent, which is the mother. Let's take another example. Let's say that transiting Neptune is making a sextile or trine to your natal Uranus. Well, this could be auspicious for combining idealism with originality. And being in the fourth house, this could be tied in to the home and to the family as well. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Neptune transiting the fourth house in the natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about Neptune transiting the fifth house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.